What's going on, guys? It's Anthony with the Rancho Garage. Check this out. Truck is jammed in here. It is, I think, like 15 degrees outside, super cold. We're super tight crammed in here. But the reason I'm doing this is I got a comment on a Razor thing about a 20-mile or 20-hour service for this. The garage is just full of stuff. But one of the things that I've talked about before with garage life and all these other things is you can do these modifications in your garage. You don't have to pay someone, or if maybe you feel the need to pay someone, then do so. But what I'm going to do with this, hopefully in a short order, I don't know, we'll see what happens, is this is literally garage. I'm here in Palmer, Alaska, and you know what, 15 degrees outside. It is, let's see what the temperature is inside. My thermostat says 52. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to rip apart the rear end. And by rear end, I don't mean the rear differential or any of that stuff. What I mean is, let's swap the rear shocks. Let's go ahead and do the rear brake pads and rotors and put on the new wheels and tires. So the truck is filthy. Look at this thing. I was gonna clean this, and I will clean it, but I didn't want to do it beforehand because it'll freeze up everything. So ultimately what I'm going to do is jump into the rear end of this guy, take off the tires, brake pads, rotors, shocks, and do the whole rear end, hopefully in a very quick fashion. I don't know until I dive into it, but that's the goal. And the reason I brought up the 20-hour service is because this stuff, don't make it more complex than what it is. If you have tools or the tools, if you got a basic mechanic set from your local department store or Sears or Home Depot or what have you, don't make it more difficult than what it is, because I get a lot of comments here on the YouTube channel about questions and, hey, your install didn't cover. My install covered it. It's just you got to do the work. You got to dive in and literally do this stuff. So with that being said, I'm on the Hero 8 Black by GoPro. We're gonna speed through this. We're gonna, well, hopefully speed through this, but let's dive into it. I mean, this is something that, I mean, I've got the shocks sitting right here. I've got the pads and rotors. Now granted, it is cold even with the hot dog heater that I installed right there. This is the rig setup, the camera setup that you see when I did the install videos over here. I mean, I'm not trying to sit here and fluff anything up. I love doing the YouTube. I love all this stuff, but it's time to get this truck up to where it needs to be. A lot of stuff's coming to this, guys. So let me grab some stuff, grab the tools, let's get to work. Now, a couple of things to note before I dive in. I am sitting really close. I know you can barely see that. Let me give you a better perspective. So I'm hoping now that wheels and tires are going to be close, so I may have to take those off to get out of the garage, and then I'll turn it around. I don't know if I'm going to do the front, suspension on it today. I more than likely will not, but let's stop talking and get to work.
Come on. Why do we have custom rails code, which means like electric, auto,
All right, so let's talk about the rotors and the pads right here. So we're gonna have to pop these rings off. I already got the rear caliper, or the caliper essentially off. We got to pop the bracket then the bracket itself is going to come off because we got to get to this guy. But I'm using a 13/16 on this bolt, and then we're using a 13 mil for the bolt on the back, or the nut and the bolt. So essentially I'm going to pop the hardware out, brake rotor out. I got to keep one of these pads so I can C-clamp it and pull the caliper back in. Pop this out, then we're going to jump into the shock, get the wheel and tire on, keep moving. So let's go. All right, so a quick update. We got the caliper bracket off. Glove is ripping. This is, I mean, look at that. That's absolutely beautiful. I threw these back on. I'm hoping that it'll compress down. I'll compress it down. It's just the clips that came with it. You don't have to put these back on. In fact, maybe I won't put them on. Maybe I'll take them off. Anyways, looking at this, it's pretty simple. There's the MotoFab block. I'm going to keep that in there. I'm going to mount back up the bracket. So the bracket is, what is the bracket? 18 mil? 18 mil. Make sure and tighten everything back up, and then I'm going to reassemble the brake. So the brake is done on this side. Throw the shock on, throw the wheel on, switch sides, and get over there, just so we can get this rear end buttoned up, and everything will be good. Now I am in debate on whether I want to keep that bracket, because the new kit says it will do 2 inches, which is plenty, because this is actually just, this block right here is an inch over stock, so it's 2 inches or 3 inches instead of the 2. So I'm thinking about taking that bracket off, switching it over. Yeah, I am running just on a jack for now, because it's going fairly quick. So let me bolt this back up. So this is done. Swap the shock. Let's get it done. All right, so I get that this isn't a full bore tutorial. Dropped the shock, unbolted the top, took out the rear, pushed it up with my hand, and there you go. That's the bracket. I think I'm gonna go ahead and leave that off for the install of the new Bilstein 5160. So again, we have this all mounted up. This is all good to go. Next is the shock on this side. I'll jump to the other side, do that side, put the wheel and tire on. Let's keep going. Okay, so shock number 2 is done. Look at those, my hands are filthy. Cruising along though. Shock to go in. I'm sure my face is dirty. Rob Dom's on the TV listening to him. That's done. Now I just need to throw the new shock up, bolt the wheel and tire on, and I will tell you what, it's taller, it's better. Let me show you what I'm talking about.
Hilarious with that. We created a new unit of measurement at gallons per pole.
Absolutely beautiful. So let me finish up the passenger rear and we'll keep going. So this side's done. There's the shocks. Watching Rob Dom 1000 horsepower RX-7, or listening more or less. This side's done. Obviously very tight quarters. Got it knocked out. Looking good. I think I may end it here. It's pretty straightforward.
I want to point out, that is a 100.
Looks incredible. The rest of the
largest turbo
truck is going to come out great. I'm not sure if I'm going to have time to get the front done today, but this is something you can totally do in your garage. Had I not been recording and doing the video thing, I would have probably been done hour and a half. It's 15 below outside, so I've been cold. Water from the OEM rims was on the ground, so I put the hoodie on. I'm sure my face is dirty and all of that stuff, but this stuff is pretty simple to do. Rob Dom is running some tests, some dynos on his 4-rotor.
On low, and we finally hit the limits of low. I'm not saying that these are the peak.
But ultimately, you can do this completely. I mean, the truck's dirty, but this is a simple, just take your time, walk through the steps, and you'll get it. Take the wheel off, take the caliper off, take the caliper mount off, disconnect the shocks, put it all back together. The caliper, I did use the C-clamp method, which is use the old brake pad, crimp the C-clamp down on the caliper. Life is good. I did have to, or I elected to, I don't know if I had to, unbolted those, so those are loose up top, just so they drop down a little bit. You probably can't tell, but that's dropped down a little bit. I'm gonna turn the truck around. I don't know if I'm gonna finish this today, but this is the start of it. I think it looks absolutely exactly what I was looking for. The rear end is obviously up, and the wheels and tires look incredible, especially with those rotors behind them. Let's wrap it there, guys, at least for this episode. I'll do another one. I don't know if I'm gonna just continue forward. I'm gonna pull this out and then I'll see what's going on. But I do appreciate you guys tuning in. Thank you so much. All the equipment, everything I've used in this video is gonna be linked down below. Wheels and tires are from Tire Rack. Those are Powerstop Z36 rotors and the carbon fiber ceramic pads. And that pretty much wraps this up, along with the Bilstein 5160s. If you're out riding or driving, I'll see you in the next video.